Paul Oglesby is the light green machine, alongside Nick Sampson. He's in red and white. The revs are up. Quite a long hole on the red lights, but away they go. Down towards Riches, and one car quite slow away. I think it was Harvey Ashmore, the number 10, who was a bit slow away. Henry Speaks is there, just caught a glimpse of him coming through from the back of the field. It is Ben Wheatley who leads the way into Riches' corner for the first time. Bruno van Dijk's got a good start, sweeping for the outside there in the black number 3, down towards the hairpin for the first time, and well, Van Dijk could get second place here. He has got second place around the outside, but Ben Wheatley is already in the clear. Lionel Tolmash in third, then it's Adam Keane. Couple of cars running wide towards the back of the field. There is Henry Speaks, the Hong Kong based driver, number 37, the red and blue car, so he has done well to repair. But as they head through Palmer's for the first time, Ben Wheatley already looking dominant once again out in front.
Yep, new radiator on that car, no doubt. But yeah, there is also already an ominous gap there, isn't he? He's got his head absolutely down in this sunlight in the Snetterton circuit. A little bit of jockeying for position as we come down into...
There goes the first wing.
The first wing of what was many yesterday, but actually everyone looking much more under control today. A little bit of manoeuvring there, like someone might have missed a gear. Hopefully we've also got everyone with their fuel filler caps firmly attached to the car today, but that gap is already looking quite ominous as Bruno van Dijk sees whether he can do anything to bridge it and bring Tolmarsh with him. That's what we want for this race to develop itself, as the rest of them, it's still the sort of same contenders that we saw yesterday.
Nick Sampson rounding out the top 5 at the moment, behind Adam Keane and Lionel Tolmash. There's Graham Finlayson, that's the car I mentioned, liveried like the Mazda that won Le Mans in 1991, the orange and green livery. Johnny Herbert's Volker Wiedler, Bertrand Gachot were the drivers on that occasion. Graham Finlayson driving the 49 car today, though. Leaders through Nelson. It is Wheatley who leads the way from Van Dijk. Lionel Tolmash in third. Somebody taking a shortcut there. Who's that? The number 9 car, is that? No, number 6, sorry. That's Tim Hardcastle, the Sussex-based driver, the RS Motorsport car.
Yeah, I think that's a new livery for him this year.
That's why I got confused.
Yeah, looking good when running with RS Motorsport. So as we go on then to start the next lap, heading up here, still that gap is persisting, but they have, so I think they've stopped it increasing at this point. So Tolmash and Bruno van Dijk, you can see Ben Wheatley weaving as he goes up this straight, desperately trying to stop that toe from taking effect. It has spread out at the front of this field much more than it did yesterday, as they desperately try and keep in touch. Bruno van Dijk manages to maintain that as they go up into turn 1. Then Oglesby had a bad start off the line. It didn't seem to hook in as he went through the gears. He maybe missed a second to third gear change, and he's just starting to recover his car back through as we watch Keane and the rest of them all fighting through.
Yes, Keane's got Nick Hyton and Nick Sampson behind. They make contact and a wing goes flying off one of those cars. Didn't see who lost it. Paul Oglesby is up behind them. Then chasing them down, looks like it's the 21 of Alex Coombs, another Sussex-based racer. Ben Wheatley from Nottinghamshire leads the way. Tolmash up there in second. Up the inside, yes, Nick Sampson's been shuffled wide there, and here's quite a frantic looking battle headed up by the 69 of Louis Darling, so he's avoided any incident on the opening lap today. Everybody else getting into line behind him. Another car missing a wing, you can see there at the back of that little train.
Louis Darling's made up 10 places in these opening couple of laps, so he is on an absolute charge. He was the guy that had contact with Henry Speaks yesterday, so he's got a bit of recovery work to do, but he's flying along.
He certainly is, yes. Ben Wheatley has, of course, got the fastest laps so far, but representative lap times for full flying laps will be coming in shortly, as Sol Rogers giving chase to that train ahead of him. Wheatley continues to set the pace. Lionel Tolmash going for second place on the back of Van Dijk. Then it's Keane. Oglesby under fire. That's Hyton about to go through a bit of a lock-up from one of those cars there. Oglesby, I think it was, and he could lose out to Nick Sampson, who's trying to get around the outside up on the curve. There isn't quite room there. Trying to force the issue as they go down towards the bomb hole. Outside overtakes into the theme of today, don't they? And Nick Sampson pulls off another one.
Yeah, it was a good one. And Oglesby was talking in the interviews beforehand about getting his elbows out, and he definitely did that. He wasn't willing to capitulate, but I think it actually ended up costing him a little bit more time than it gained him. It's always impossible and difficult. It's a lesson you've got to learn. Is when is it time to get your elbows out? When is it time to push a position, or when is it not? And maybe in that time it would have been better just to capitulate and let him go. But it's just the sort of tactics and the psychology of it all are really important for a driver, working out where are you in this order, especially Oglesby, who's come up from the academy straight into this championship. So it is a bit of a culture shot. Here comes the Sol Rogers battle, 4 wide as they head into turn 1 this time through, and it looked like
That was Dan Hope charging
Dan
the
Hope,
inside,
yeah,
the number 9.
making
Now,
up places from his 5 grid.
yeah, he got that grid penalty yesterday, so he wants to make amends here. Charging past Monty Hind in the 76, and also following him is Django Jones, another Academy graduate in the number 8 car. Great name, that is. The number 8, he ran in a bright maroon livery last season, so a new paint scheme for him this year as well. Sol Rogers with the yellow, Dayglow yellow wheels in behind this group. He's missing a wing as well, and catching up behind in the number 6 of Tim Hardcastle, the man who took that shortcut at Nelson earlier on.
It looked like Bruno van Dijk might have closed that gap down to Wheatley, and he was actually leaving Tolmarsh behind, so Tolmarsh struggling to keep up. But let's keep an eye on for that as they head, and this all develops on as this fantastic stream of colours of cars heading up then through Hamilton this time through. There's Dan Hope now leading all those cars, so he has made up those places that he needed to. Can he then get back across this gap to sort of reach the cars in front of him?
In this group there's Barry Hanif. We saw him in the barriers in yesterday's race, but he's repaired the number 11, the man from Glasgow, chasing down Sol Rogers now. He's being reeled into, I think that's Harvey Ashmore recovering from his slow start. Here are the leaders. Wheatley, yes, he is definitely not getting away today, being hounded down by Bruno van Dijk and Lionel Tolmarsh, battling for second and third. Up the inside there, Monty Hind makes up another place, the 76. He had his weekend, the start of his weekend spoiled because for tyre infringements in qualifying, he had to start at the back of the grid. Sol Rogers under fire, and somebody running wide. That is Graham Handy in car number 2. Big cloud of dust there as he goes wide at Nelson. That's the I think he said that's the Iron Man livery car, isn't it?
And we saw him nudged into that spin yesterday as well, didn't we? So he's having a difficult start to his season, but a bit of grass tracking once more as Wheatley desperately tries to break, Van Dijk desperately tries to cling on. Still not a gap where you're getting a super tow. You'll still be feeling the tow, but the change of wind direction down Bentley Straight, we're seeing not as many moves into Brundle and Nelson, whereas we are seeing all the moves happening now up into turn 1 as the cars gain the most benefit from that headwind. Caterhams are not traditionally particularly aerodynamic, and that's why we get this tow effect, and cars can be up to 7, maybe 10 miles an hour quicker by the time we get to the end of these long straights here at Snetterton.
Nick Sampson has done the fastest lap, 2:11.564 for the red and white number 15. Here comes Henry Speaks, who caught a glimpse of there on the back of this group now, catching Sol Rogers, who's lost a couple more places. Andrew Bailey, number 31, the red car, has got through there. Henry Speaks making his move up on the inside, so Sol Rogers is dropping back, unfortunately, in the 85 car. It's down to about 18th place now. Frantic fighting in the midfield. Hardcastle under fire from Monty Hind, the 76. There's Hanif's car missing that wing. Rogers missing a wing as well, and running wide there. That was Henry Speaks. He's going all out as he tries to move up towards the front of the field. Wheatley still leads ahead of Dijk, Tolmarsh, Keane and Sampson. That was the order at the line anyway. It's probably changed it then. We've got the black and white flag has gone out to car 65, Andrew Mackay, warning for track limits.
Yeah, Dan Hope is starting to pull away from that sort of gaggle of cars. He's taking, I think he might be Hind with him as they head down the straight, but that gap at the front is maybe even slightly larger. We might have to start getting a clock on that to see where we're at, because it's all closed up with Keane now catching up with the back of Tolmarsh. Tolmarsh is just clinging on, has lost the rear of that car, and they have one new set of tyres per race weekend, so again these tyres will slowly be getting angrier and less compliant as they go through the course of this race weekend. Very wide out there for a number of the cars heading out of the bomb hole that time, but yeah, so it looks like those rears of Tolmarsh might starting to complain a little bit too much, and Wheatley again just imperiously moving away at this point.
Harrison Cavers has got the black and white flag for track limits as well. Just a warning at the moment. If you transgress again after getting the black and white flag, you get a 5-second time penalty. Saw a couple of those in the previous race. New fastest lap for Nick Highton, 2:10.777 for the number 78 car, running in 6th position. Tolmarsh has got back up into 2nd place ahead of Bruno van Dijk. Meanwhile, they're heading towards the Wilson hairpin. That's Sampson having a go at the outside. Adam Keane slots through on the inside. Bruno van Dijk's going backwards as Sampson up on the outside. There's Highton in behind them, so Van Dijk loses 2 places through Riches and Wilson.
And that's immediately going to give Wheatley the advantage even more. 2:10.777. It was a new lap record then in the 270R class, taking over from Nick Bryant's old record from last year. So Highton currently holds that. Can he hold that to the end of the race? Certainly a spectacularly good and quick time. Oglesby here we can see still sort of drifting back through that field. He's got Louis Darling, so that Louis Darling's charge continues now. He's made another place up there ahead of Oglesby, up into 8th place. So can he continue that charge? He's got a big gap ahead of him now before he can make up any more places. But if this gaggle of 4 cars now start battling with each other as they did yesterday, I think you could see Louis Darling being a part of this race when we're at 10 minutes and towards the end of it.
Yeah, as these 5 started squabbling with one another, this is allowing Ben Wheatley to start to escape. We're only just over halfway through this 20-minute race as well, so a few more laps to go yet. There is Wheatley, the light blue car, out in front. Who's going to come through into second and to Brundle? Is it going to be Adam Keane who makes his way down the inside? It is. He's going to take P2. He's had a couple of wins in another race series already this season up at Donington Park last month to get himself dialed in for the season. Certainly worked out very well indeed for him there. Bruno van Dijk next there. Sampson in the 15 car. Nick Highton chasing on behind, having just set the lap record last time around. Very close indeed between these 5. Then a small gap back to the second group, which is headed up by Paul Oglesby. He's just over 3 seconds further back, but Wheatley is now starting to pull away as he did yesterday. Yeah,
it's going out at over a second per lap at the moment, so he's really is got the hammer down as the other drivers then cost each other time by overtaking. They will be trying to work out, I think now I'm battling for second place, and that's what will happen. So this will intensify the battle here as we're going 3 wide. Bruno van Dijk's throwing it down the inside of Tolmarsh into turn 1 there. Flipping it, there's not normally room for 3 cars, but they've managed to sort it all out as they go through. That would have been uncomfortable for Keane, who was on the outside of that as well. Tolmarsh manages to just keep his nose ahead. Keane late on the brakes into the hairpin, does make contact then with Bruno van Dijk, but he got it all under control, and it was a minor contact at worst. So good job by him to keep it out the side of Bruno van Dijk's car.
They need to be careful though, because Tolmarsh and Highton have been given the black and white flag, so another transgression for track limits. They will get a 5-second penalty. It'll put them out of this battle back towards on corrected time, back towards where Oglesby and Louis Darling are battling. Darling, I can tell you, has got ahead of Oglesby at the line. He's up to P7 now. This is P2 down to 6th, and looking in his mirror here will be Ben Wheatley. Oh, collision! Who's gone off there?
Yeah, there was someone I think may have missed a gear or something, and that cost Sampson out of the running then, so that's going to be an engine off job because his radiator will be burst. But yeah, I think someone missed a gear or went onto the grass, and just it got awkward, and the person, I think it was Sampson, unsighted behind, just ended up with nowhere to go but running over the car in front. So a bit of a nasty incident there.
It was as if everybody was checked up coming out of Agostini, and they couldn't avoid each other.
Yeah, I think just someone went onto the grass, there was nowhere for them to go, and everyone else checked. Well, they didn't realise the front. We can get a bit of a replay here. So they were all very, very close coming in. So it's Tolmarsh out in front. Who went out wide? Was that Van Dijk going out onto the grass out wide? They all got checked up and he had nowhere to go. So really,
it was Keane slowed, I think.
And I wonder whether he missed a gear because of Van Dijk being on the grass on the outside.